Go Blue, everybody. Coach Tony Alford joins us next on Michigan Wolverines Live. And here we go with another episode of Michigan Wolverines Live, presented by FanDuel, episode 242. My name is John Diadamo, and alongside TJ, we're going to take you through the next hour and a half or so. As always, catch us not just on YouTube, Twitch, X, all of the above, but also audio when you're in your commute, you're driving, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and iHeart. And especially for this show, folks, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and if you will, share this out with as many friends as you'd like, because this is a very exciting show for us. And if you have a comment, you have a question, don't forget to super chat, or we take member comments too, so we'll try to highlight some of both throughout. And that's that. Let's bring on my partner in crime here. We've got TJ Ronin in the house for an exciting episode.
Yeah.
I'm like level 100 pumped at the moment here.
Cannot wait, man. Looking forward to it. We got a lot to talk about. Should be a great show. Let's get to it, man.
Absolutely. And real quick, want to thank everybody here, Michigander, Chippo, Ryan, Goats, everybody who is a moderator. They're a member. These folks here come every week. They bring it. They bring their takes, and we appreciate all of them. We got Marmar. Everybody's here, Detroit Wolverines. So thank you so much for stopping by. And go Blue to the greatest running backs coach, Tony Alford. So we'll be talking to him in just a second here. But before we do, real quick, we want to remind everybody that we are brought to you by FanDuel. And great news, Michigan is currently favored by 2.5 to beat Notre Dame in hockey.
Yeah, number one Michigan, John. Number one Michigan is favored to beat Notre Dame in hockey. I'm taking the boys. Let's go. This is not gambling advice, but we rock maize and blue, so I'm pretty excited about it. Hey, honestly, though, regarding Michigan hockey, should be a great Frozen Four this year. Michigan's got a great shot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got Michigan in this one. Take the over. I think Michigan's going to take Notre Dame. Let's go. Go Blue. And, of course, we want to thank our newest sponsor, Freedom Services EPC. So thank you. And Michigan Wolverines Live is sponsored by Freedom Services EPC. Quality you can trust, people you can count on, serving all the USA's oil and gas needs. And you can check them out at freedomservicesepc.com. And that's that. With that, I don't want to waste any more time without bringing on Coach Alford to our show. Coach, thanks for coming on to Michigan Wolverines Live. We appreciate you.
Hey, Coach, can you hear us?
I can't hear anything.
Oh, no.
Oh.
We were just, all right. maybe try to go in and out, Coach. We were just speaking with you a minute ago. Oh, actually, no, private chat, John. Reach him in the private chat.
Yeah.
I got him, actually. I got it.
Okay.
Anyways, until we can get this figured out, so you let carry forward, John. I'll work with Coach Tony Alford.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just take a few comments while we're waiting. So DMD, go blue, absolutely. Moose is here. We got Moose in the house, friend of the program. Moose has been around as long as I've been hosting, and actually before I started hosting. So we appreciate him a lot. We got Goats. Let's get it done. Great team. Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice. We got Go Blue with so Tree's here. So Tree obviously is not only a Michigan Wolverine, he is also sometimes not afraid to go to the rival spaces, the Buckeye spaces, and others, and he stands tall in maize and blue and all that good stuff. So appreciate you, Tree, as always. Moose saying, welcome, Coach Alfred. Thanks, Moose. And yeah, okay, so they're working that out. So we will keep taking some comments here. Go Blue, absolutely. Glad Tony is on the better side of the rivalry now. Not that kind of doctors here. Yo, back at you. This is fantastic. And we've got greatest 5-second interview ever. Let's see. It looks like Coach is back. Coach, can you hear us?
I can, yes, sir.
Yes, we got it. Awesome. Juju, that's hilarious. Greatest 5-second interview. Well,
there we go.
Coach is back now. We're all good. We're all rocking and rolling. Coach, so I'll start things off here because our community I'd say we had one of the most popular shows we've ever had when Coach Whittingham was announced as the new head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. And of course, we started speculating who was going to be in each role and all that good stuff. And when it was announced that you were being retained, everybody was happy about it. And that's very rare in fandom that everybody's happy about it, but everybody was happy about it that I know anyway. So with that said, what has it been like working with the new coach, Coach Whittingham, so far? And is there anything about his approach that stands out to you as something that resonates?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm very appreciative of the compliments, and you guys are easily impressed, I guess, right? but no, in all sincerity, that means a lot, and I'm very flattered. I've absolutely loved my time here, going on my third season, and so I thank you for that. And I too wanted to be here. And so, God willing, it worked out in my favor. And but I appreciate the compliments from not only you guys, but from the fan base. And we have an amazing fan base. So very appreciative, as I said. Back to your question, though. Yeah, it's been great. I've had an opportunity. I've known Kyle kind of in and out of a situation. My late brother worked for him from 2007 to 2010. So I had a, somewhat of a relationship, but nothing was like we were friends or sit down and have a beer together, nothing like that. Right, but we knew each other. And so was very fortunate that I was able to stay, but he has been nothing short of amazing. He's a great guy. I've really enjoyed the past few months working with him and for him. It's very clear messaging. The messages are clearly defined and what the expectations are for not only the players in the program, but for the staff. And then he gives you the autonomy to go do your work.
Absolutely. I mean, Coach Whittingham, has been, labeled as, very focused, very disciplined, very, goal oriented. I mean, is he bringing that same attitude and mentality to the program right now? Are you seeing this?
You can see it. You can see it in the messaging to the players and to the staff every single day. There is a clear, concise message every single day of what the expectations are, and you're not gonna and they're not going to negotiate on what those expectations are. There's no negotiation. This is what it is, and it's very clear and it's clearly articulated, and it's kind of wild, not wild, but it's funny. If you're not sure, ask, and you'll be quickly told.
Right.
And here's what we want. Here's how we're going to do it. We're not asking. It's not up for debate. This isn't a request to do it this way. This is how it's going to be, and it's proven he's had success doing it that way. So it's been great.
Absolutely. So heading into spring camp, what's the energy like in the building, Coach, from both the players and the coaches?
Well, I think it's like anybody else across the country right now. Your guys are excited to get back on the grass and start playing ball. And so I would challenge anybody to say that any program at this juncture is excited to go play it. There's something wrong. But our players have been great. They've embraced the staff. It's a very close knit team. They've banded together amidst all the stuff that has happened. In some ways, you can say, well, that can splinter you or can bring you closer. And I believe our players just brought them closer. And so guys are excited. And we start a week from today, actually.
Let's go.
And so yeah, we're excited about it. And the workouts have been high energy and really good. And so we're anxious to get back to playing ball.
Okay. So speaking of like getting back and getting excited, what are you most looking forward to, Coach? Like getting back to spring practice. It's been a long winter, right? So like, what,
Yeah.
are you just ready to get back to it, or where's Coach Alfred at?
Yeah, I think there's been so much that's gone on. There's been a litany of things that have gone on since early December. It's kind of like write a book, right? You couldn't even make up a story like this, but there's been so much that's happened, and this
Sure.
and for me, it's great just to be back around our players and every day in the meeting room with them. And no, for me, that's the best time, is to being around the guys. Not that you don't like being in the staff rooms and the meeting rooms and all that with your coworkers, but being around the players, that's what's fun. That's what energizes. That's why you go to work every day. And so that's been fun. I'm very fortunate. We've got an amazing room full of guys that are fun to be around. They're hardworking. They take coaching. They want to be coached. They do. They really want to be good. And so there's never been a day that I've walked into my room, they haven't been engaged. And so I think there's great leadership from the top of the room. And so I'm really excited to get going with the guys again and just being around them every day.
Yeah, I know, TJ, you're headed there with some people to the annual spring game coming up in April. So very excited.
We'll be there, Coach.
See what.
Right.
That's right. Very excited
April
to see
18th,
that.
2 o'clock. April 18th, 2 o'clock.
Let's go.
And with that said, the spring game is going to be the first time that we see at least a little bit of the new offense under Jason Beck. And so you've been working closely, obviously, with Coach Beck. What has that experience been like, and what has kind of stood out to you? We heard early on that there would be more 11 personnel, but then we heard from Coach Beck himself in interviews that he was going to adapt to the personnel. So what have you kind of seen so far with?
Well, I think he is going to adapt to the personnel that we have, and we've got an opportunity to run 12. We got an opportunity to run even bigger packages, to bring multiple offensive line. We can go into our 11 personnel stuff. We can do 2-back stuff. So there's a multitude of things that we can do within the confines of the offense. Probably not unlike many other places. I think I made a comment. This is kind of wild the way this offense is, and if I had to elaborate on that, what I mean is just the way that it's called. I mean, the plays are the plays, right? Everyone's running zone, everyone's running power, everyone's running 4 verticals and things of that nature. But the way that it's called, I've never been associated with the way that it's being called, as far as just the vernacular, and just like I said, and it's been wild for me because I've never seen it called that way and really installed that way. Because usually when you install, the way I've ever done it in 30 some odd years of coaching, you install by concepts. We're going to put in this concept today, this one tomorrow, and so on and so forth. Where this one, it's all at your disposal day one, and then you're just kind of picking and choosing and what you want to and how you want to put out there on the field. But it's been wild that way. It's just everything is in from day one, and so that's been a little different in just how you teach. But it's been great. The players have really taken to it. I've enjoyed it. I'm liking it, of course. But he's great to work with. Very, no ego whatsoever. There's zero ego involved, and very open to ideas and hey, well, how can we do this better? What do we like? What about this? What about that? So he's been nothing short of great to work with.
That's awesome. A full collaborative effort. I love to hear that, Coach. So all right, our audience definitely wants to hear this question, Coach. So when you were recruiting Savion Hyder in high school, what did you see in him as a player that made you want him on your team, Coach?
Like everybody else in the free world, the guy's an explosive player, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't unique. I wasn't unique in thinking that.
Yeah.
No, he's an outstanding football player. He's more explosive than even I thought when you see it up. It's one thing to watch the film, but it's another thing to be standing right next to him and he comes running by you or accelerating past you. I guess one of the things that I didn't know is just how hungry he is to learn. And just, you can never really tell how coachable a guy is until you really get a hold of him. But he's exceptionally gifted as far as athletically, as we said, but he wants to be coached. And he's a sponge. He wants to learn. He picks things up. If he'll make a mistake, he's not going to make the same mistake twice, I should say. He's not walking in here as a wide-eyed true freshman, if you will, and wide-eyed kind of like, oh man, look at these. The lights are. I don't see the lights being too big for him. But he has been extremely impressive, explosive athlete. He's done a fabulous job, in the classroom as well, off the field. He's been the joy to be around. One of the things, he was so quiet in the recruiting process. Like I almost didn't enjoy recruiting. Like he wouldn't talk to people. It didn't talk to the media. He was very just, tried to be out of the way. But the guy's, I mean, he's kind of a clown, really. So he's fun to be around. He's a joy to be around. His mom and dad did an amazing job of raising that kid, and obviously his brothers and sisters and his grandmother and all the people down there. They did such a good job of Karan and staying around him and helping shape and mold him. But obviously he did the heavy lifting and did the work. But he's great to be around every day.
Yeah, we followed that recruitment very closely, and a player of his caliber, for as quiet as that recruitment was, from his standpoint, right? Like not, going to the, recruiting sites and giving all, he just walked his path and stayed on his path, man. And just, it was actually refreshing, Coach, to be honest with you. We follow recruiting pretty heavily here, and to see a player just take that approach and not worry about, their name being here or there, but just staying focused on the mission, Coach. I'm sure you love that.
And I did, because like you said, he didn't care about rankings. He didn't care who said what this website, what this podcast, what this media person, what, 247, he didn't care. He just wanted to go. He just wanted to go be a teenager. He wanted to hang out with his friends, and he wanted to play video games, be around his family, and play ball. And he didn't like all the stuff. And but here's what I respected the most. He and his mom and dad in particular, if they said something, that's what it was. When Adam McCann, who worked very, very closely with him, and me and Adam are very, very dear friends, when they said something, that's what it was. And it wasn't trying to read between any of the lines. Like his mom would even call and say, Coach, if you hear something immediate, you don't have to read between the lines, just call me. Just call us and we'll tell you exactly what it is. And I'm the same way, very open book, very transparent, sometimes to a fault. But whatever they said it was, that's what it was. And they've held true to that from day one, since the day I met him. And so they were fun to recruit. It was hard at times because he doesn't talk a lot. There were days, weeks that he might not talk to me and not respond. And we're like, gosh, what's going on? And he's like, Coach, this is like yesterday. Actually, it's still funny because I sent him a long text message late last night. I mean, it was like 11:30 last night. I shot him this text message about, here's my expectation for you in the morning, because he didn't have a really good day in the walkthrough because he wasn't as focused as I wanted him to be. So I told him about 11:30 last night, as I'm laying there, couldn't sleep. I'm texting him, and he didn't respond. Well, I see him this morning, and I'm like, it was like 6 o'clock this morning. I'm like, hey, well, did you get my text? He goes, oh yeah, I saw it. He's like, I saw it. Are you gonna respond? I said, the recruiting's over now. You got to respond to text messages. So he was like, yeah, I'll respond. And so that was at 6 o'clock. He finally responded about 9:30 to the text. I'm like, come on, serious. But that's just who he is, and he's just wonderful to be around. He really is. And he was the academic all-star of the week which I thought was amazing that, he's got all these accolades, but these are the things that are important to
Right.
him and his mom and dad. And there's not a whole lot of fluff. What you see is what you get, and what he says is what he means.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's talk about another special running back, John.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously Jordan Marshall, formerly Mr. Ohio,
That's
decides to come to Michigan, right? And what do you think makes Jordan Marshall such a special player to work with?
Yeah, well, first I thought Mike Hart, obviously, Mike did a great job. Obviously Mike's at Boston College now, but Mike and Jim, they did a great job recruiting Jordan. They really did. And he came because of his affinity for them, and his affinity for the University of Michigan. Now he and I have always remained very, very close, even when he was being recruited, and after he committed, he and I still continued to talk all the time.
I remember he said that.
Yeah. Me and that kid became very, very close in the recruiting process. But with that, all that being said, Jordan is very mature for his years, almost like, he's kind of like the mayor. He can talk to anybody, and he's such an engaging personality. He's smart, he's articulate, he's a leader. And I think, some guys just kind of have that leadership qualities that they just have. It's others guys will grow into it. But he kind of just has always had it. And such an engaging personality that the players, the staff, the people in the building, from the people in the cafeteria to the nutritionist, to the janitorial staff, they all kind of draw to him. And a lot of that's just due to his personality. He's very appreciative of people around him. He makes sure that he appreciates you just by his approach every single day. And he's done a really outstanding job with the young players, with Savion in particular, Jonathan Brown. He does a great job of helping coach the younger players. And it's not like he's some old head. He's kind of an old soul, if you will, but he does a great job of echoing the things that we want from the staff, from myself, obviously, in our room, from Coach Whittingham, from Coach Beck, from Coach Combs in the special teams. He does a great job of echoing the things that we want done in the locker room. And so he's been a great leader, especially when it got hard. When it got hard around here, the past few months, he was one of the guys that stood in there real tall and real firm, and did an outstanding job. I'm proud of him, and I love him. I love the kid. I love being around him every day. He and I have a very, very close relationship. He has a close relationship with my son. So yeah, me and Jordan have a special relationship.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player that when he does his player interviews, the leadership just goes through the screen.
Right.
Honestly, he reminds me a little bit of Blake Corum when Blake Corum was here, like that same just mentality, team first. We love Jordan Marshall around here. But can you, Coach, tell us about the rest of the running backs in your room? You have a heck of a room going into this year.
Yeah, I think so. They're good guys. I have high expectations. One of the things I talk to them about all the time is expectations are extremely high, and that's not changing. And so what the answer is to not meet those expectations. That's not the answer. So, but Bryson Kuzdzal is the other one that everyone knows about, and he is. I'm really, really proud of that kid. He walked on and kind of felt like the forgotten child in a lot of ways when I first got here. Wouldn't even talk. Was very quiet, subdued. Didn't smile. Wouldn't look at you when he did talk to you. He really didn't look at you. Which I attributed to the lack of confidence. And but now you see him now, totally different kid. Walks around his, chin up, chest high, chest out, and very shows his confidence when he does things. Just the way he moves and carries himself throughout the building. Phenomenal young man. I think he's got a heck of a future. And he's in a room. There's some other good players, but he's a really good player himself, and he's proven that, and he continues to prove it every single day. And not just on the offense, but in special teams. And so I'm very, very happy and pleased with where he's at in his walk right now. We need to continue to get better, obviously, and he knows that. But I'm extremely pleased with where he's at, and I'm excited about. I'm excited about what he can bring to this offense and this football program, because he's a highly motivated kid, and he's got a lot of confidence right now. And so hopefully that will continue to build through the spring.
Absolutely.
Then you got Micah Capana.
I was going to ask
Yeah,
about Michael.
yeah.
Yes.
You got Micah Capano from Bishop Gorman out in Las Vegas. He's a young man, obviously redshirted. And last year he was getting himself in position to play. We had packages specifically for him, and then he broke his thumb. And that set him back for quite a while. I got like 3 or 4 pins put in there, and he came back at the very end of the season. Micah's hard to get down. He's got great contact balance. Not the biggest guy in the world.
Right.
He's probably hovering around 190, 192 pounds. He'll tell you 195, but he's not.
Yeah.
I call him the little fellow, but
Yeah.
and he's got a great demeanor about him, team guy. I think he could be a guy that could really contend for the specialist job as far as the return game.
Oh yeah.
That hopefully he can do that and just find ways to help us, and there's going to be multiple opportunities and a multitude of ways that we can get playmakers on the field with this offense. But he's got to put himself in position to do that. And how you do that is you have to build trust, and you build trust by what you do every single day in practice, what you do every single day in the weight room, in the locker room, in the meeting rooms. Trust is earned. And when you get yourself into what we call that circle of trust, and you do things, not only knowing what to do, but then being able to physically do those things. Yeah, I know what to do, and now you got to go physically do it. And when he shows that he can do that on a consistent basis, I think we may have a real guy there. Then you've got another guy, Thomas O'Meara. And Thomas O'Meara is a walk-on kid from right here in Ann Arbor. And he just continues to work and get better and better and better. And but he's great for the room, and he's done a nice job. And everyone has a role, and he's been phenomenal in that role thus far. You got Donovan Johnson, who came in from IMG. He was one of the top-rated backs in the country going into his senior year, or I guess you'd say his junior year, and he tore a knee up his junior year.
Yeah.
And down at IMG, I started recruiting him when he was in Savannah, Georgia, as a freshman in high school. We got very close. He tore the knee up while he was in IMG. Got better. IMG, they played a lot of guys the senior year. We took him here. Unfortunately, he tore the other knee up early in the spring last year. So he's still coming back from that. He will be ready in the fall.
Nice.
We'll probably take it easy on him this spring.
Mhm.
And really start cutting him loose as we get into the summer.
All
And
right.
maybe do a couple things this spring, as they'll be cleared to do. All right, that's anticipation of that. But he's the bigger back. He's probably the biggest guy in the room, about 225, 226 pounds.
Yeah. Use him at goal.
Yeah, he's a big back, but he's great. He's got a great head on his shoulders. Leader, very serious about his trade, kind of serious about it, just taking care of his business. And his mom wouldn't have it any other way. But I'm excited about him, and just got to get him back healthy. So if he gets back healthy, I think we got something there. And so, heaven help him that he can get back in form. Then you've got Jonathan Brown. Jonathan Brown's a young man from Columbus, Ohio, that came in from DeSales High School in Columbus.
Love hearing that. Yes.
Yeah, we love that.
But great kid. We'll see where he goes. He's getting better. This is a learning process for him, and he's got to continue to develop as a college football player. He hasn't played running back for very long, but he's got the measurables as far as height and strength and speed and length and things of that nature. So, I think we had a high quality athlete that would just continue to build him and teach him how to play running back at the collegiate level. I'm trying to think, who did I miss? I don't think I missed anybody. But those are kind of the guys.
Yeah, I think you had the room there. All right, so all right, here's another question I know the audience definitely would love to hear about, Coach. So can you tell us kind of about Bryce Underwood and his progression that you're seeing right now? He's going into a sophomore year, big year. What have you seen, and what are you liking?
Just the leadership, and watch that grow, and his confidence. And it is what it is. It's the world we live in, right? He came in with all these accolades and big name and all the bells and whistles and the lights and stuff, but he was still an 18-year-old kid, right? We got to remember that.
Exactly.
And that's not to make any excuses for any mishaps or anything of that nature, but there's also maturation and growth process that takes place, and you're watching that in real time take form. And when you've watched his leadership, genuine leadership, come out, play people draw to him much like they do to Jordan. And so you're watching him. He loves the game. He wants to be coached, and he is being coached hard. And he's taken to it, and so I watched that, and Bryce and I we've become pretty close since I've been here, and we talk quite a bit, and so it's fun to watch. It's been fun to watch him grow. And some of the things that were very frustrating for him in his growth process as a true freshman, there's a lot was thrown on his plate. But you've watched him he's starting to manage all of those things better as we move, and so excited about where we're going with him. He's done a nice job this offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, coach, I mean, he was 17 in August.
Yeah.
What a responsibility to have a D1 program, like a blue blood. You are the leading quarterback, at a blue blood program like Michigan. I mean, the kid had the world on his shoulders, I definitely
to your point with that, I do got to say this, and Saban and I were talking about this the other day, because remember I just said he didn't have the best walkthrough. Right. We had a walkthrough in the afternoon, and I wasn't happy about it. He made one too many mistakes for me. But with that being said, one of the things I said to him and all our players is, we could use the excuses, you're a freshman, you're 17, you're new, all the things and those are all real. Those are all real. But there's 110, 112,000 people on any given Saturday that really don't care. I don't feel good. I'm sick. I got a cold. I have the flu. Nobody cares. And
Facts.
as I tell them, and I tell my players, I tell these guys, listen, I love you. You're my guys. I love you. But let me help you. When you come to work every day, and you come to practice and you walk in between those lines, the game doesn't care about you. The game doesn't care. I'm sorry you don't feel good, but for 2 hours, hell, I don't care.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's the world that we live in. So, and so in retrospect, go back to Bryce. No one cares. They just want to win, have success, find a way to be successful. It just makes for a better story when you're young and you're doing it. But at the end of the day, the objective is to win. Period.
That's right.
And get better.
Just
period.
Win.
That's it.
I love coachism. It's a philosophy in its own, coach, because you're right. There's not a single thing you said that was not true. I mean, that's just the truth. It's black and white as much as it is. Like it is what it is. Like this is a results business, right, coach? And
that's it.
You got to step to the plate. You get on the field. It's results. At the end of the day, the scoreboard's what matters.
That's right. And that's the real world. But that's the world that we live in. And that's not coach speak. I mean, honestly, I'm trying to be just as transparent as I can. That's truly what it is.
It's life. Yep.
That's life. If you lose, you get fired.
Yep.
Right.
And we chose it. As coaches, we chose that. And so the objective is, just get better every day. Get incrementally better every day. And I do believe that what motivates man is getting better. Yes, you can say, well, I'm motivated to win. How do you win? You win by getting better. And if you continue, you win by improving every day. That you can see just incremental improvements every single day. Well, if you improve enough, the result of that is winning. And so the objective is to make sure as coaches and as players, not just coaches, but as players as well, that we're improving every single day. Do something a little bit better than you did it yesterday. And then you're going to look up 50, 60, 70 days later, and you keep depositing, putting all these stuff in the bank and putting all these nuggets in your pocket. You're going to look up one day and say, damn, I went from having nothing in my pocket to I got a full pocket full of gold. Right. And what are you doing with it? And now you go win. So that's really the approach.
That's right.
So speaking of winning, you've coached the last few years at the winningest program in America, but you've also spent some time at other stops like Ohio State and Notre Dame. What's it like experiencing the rivalries? Kind of, you've seen it from all three angles.
Well, I don't know. I got a ball from each of them. Got a winning ball from both sides. No, in all seriousness, I'm playing. I think that I have a unique perspective that I have been on both sides of that, which I believe is the biggest and best rivalry in all of sports. And I know that people say that. And then people who aren't involved in it will say, well, I was at Alabama and Auburn. Okay, well, I've never been at Alabama and Auburn, so I can't speak on. All I can do is speak on this one. And this one, to me, is the biggest and the best rivalry in all of sports, without question. And so I've been very blessed in my career that, I'm going on 18 years of being between Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Michigan. So I've been beyond blessed in my coaching career. That's been the past 18 years of my professional life. And I don't take that lightly, and I do not take that for granted. With that being said, The expectations, and you say, well, what, I think one of the questions you'd ask me about what's the difference from there to here.
Sure.
It's the same. The expectations are to win. And it's very important, not just to the coaches and the players, but to the fans of both these great places. Yeah, I mean, it's important. It's important.
Right.
And to say that it's more important on one side to the other, I can't say that.
Yeah.
I can't and
Sure.
won't say that. And I will say this, I guess, like, everybody want to sit up here and go bash your rival. I can't bash that rival. That place helped build me as a coach, and I learned so much. And the players that I was able to coach there, Zeke and JK and Mike Weber and Trey Henderson and Trey Sermon, the list goes on and on.
Right.
Antonio Williams. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? Me and Josh Perry, the linebacker, still. I mean, I'm still very, very close to so many of those people, and their fan base is rabid. They're energized. They love their program. They love their Block O, just like the people at Michigan love the Block M.
That's right.
And they're passionate about their fan base, and they're passionate about their team, and it's important, and every single day matters, just as it does here. It does there too, and so to say, well, they care more than we do, or we care more than I can't say that. All I can tell you is it's very critically important to everybody in the SHEM. It's critically important to everybody in the SHEM that we're preparing for that game every single day, and amongst all the other games as well. I don't know if that answers that for you or not.
Honestly,
it does.
Perfect. Because, like, I always say on this channel, I don't like Ohio State, but I respect Ohio State.
Yep.
They make college football better, because that's our rival, and we are a part of the greatest rivalry in sports. And
iron sharpens iron.
I have that argument all the time about Alabama, Auburn. Get out of here. Like, we know what it is. we know what it is. But all right, Coach. So let me ask you this. And we know your position on Ohio State, but, like, what made you come to Michigan? Like, what was it that
wow,
stuck out?
Actually, it's J.K. Dobbins calling me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Casual.
Yeah. I won't go into the finer details of things.
Sure.
It became very personal. It became very
super
personal.
Broad,
But it was just, I'll say this, for me, it was time. And 9 years in one place can be a long time, right? And I just, sometimes people just grow apart.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of, I think there was time. It was probably time a year or two before it actually went down. I will say this, I made a comment and people went completely ham on it when I made a comment when I got here, and I said, I'm as happy as I've been in a long time. And everybody down there, that's because you suck and we don't want you, and us, that, and the third, right? It worked out for everybody.
Right.
I think it worked out for everybody, and no animosity. It is what it is. This is a very transient job. This is only like my 9th or 10th school I've been to. So it's just a matter. It's just happened to be the rival. But it was time. And there were some personal things that were said that led up to that. And the people that need to know. Right. And the people that are involved, they know. So people can shade it one way and say this, that, and the third. But the people that know, they know.
Right.
And those are the ones that matter. No one else matters. Nobody else on the social media that's bashing us because they didn't do this, or they didn't want this, or they didn't give them this. None of that's true. None of that's true. Right.
Yeah.
And so the people that need to know, and the people that matter to me, know. And if anybody disagrees with that, the hell with them too, because I really don't care, because they don't pay my bills, and they don't make one iota of the difference of what I do with my life every day. So it was time for everybody, and I think everybody is benefited as they need be. But absolutely, I have great respect for that place, in particular, and most importantly for the players. Many of those players I know, and they have great players, phenomenal young guys, great young men, great families. Just as we do here at the University of Michigan, really the same kids. And so nothing but great respect for that university and that program.
Well,
I know you're
fantastic.
probably expecting
love
me to
it.
say something real ratchety and bad about, but I'm not.
No, I
Well,
thought that was
honestly,
more than I think that was more than we thought.
I mean,
That was
honestly,
great. That
Coach,
was perfect. That was
I thought
perfect.
you'd say because it's a blue blood, you know. But
Yeah.
no, we
Yeah.
appreciate it. We
Yeah.
appreciate it,
Um,
the insight, you know. That we do
well,
appreciate that.
let's go the other direction and talk about favorite thing that maybe appealed to you about Michigan, or just the favorite thing
Yeah.
that you enjoy being
Yeah.
like coaching at Michigan.
Right. What is your favorite thing at being here? Like what
Yeah.
is
The
because like
people,
Yeah.
it's amazing, the people have just treated me and my family amazingly. Yeah, like you said, the fan base, listen, we all want to be appreciated, right? Some people need more affirmation than others, a pat on the back. Some need it more than others, but we all appreciate and we all want that. But for me, just the feeling of being valued, the feeling of being appreciated in the space that I'm in, and that was from the day that I got here. I remember, if you listen to anything I say, I like to smoke my cigars, right? And
Yes.
and
Yeah,
so
hey.
yeah,
I gotta
I
get
know. So I go to La Casa, the cigar shop that I go to here in town,
Yeah.
and I figured that place out. Let me say, I got here on a Friday, and I knew exactly. I Googled that place up by Friday night, so I knew exactly where to go within 12 hours of being in town. So I go to this place, and it was amazing how many people were like, "Coach, welcome to Michigan." Not we're glad you're there. Like, thank you for coming. Thank you for giving us a chance to come here. And I'm like, thank you. What are you talking about? You guys hired me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but that's permeated for the last 3 years. That's kind of what it's been for me for the last 2.5 going on 3 years. And so I'm deeply appreciative of that. And for you to say, what is the thing I love the most? The players, the kids,
Yeah.
first and foremost, but just the genuine care that people have shown for me and have really embraced me and my family and coming here and so I'm sincerely grateful. Again, I feel like I'm valued and wanted, and for that I'm appreciative.
Absolutely.
And well, we're appreciative that you're here, Coach. And we do have, if it's okay, some community questions that we filtered out some of the crazy ones. And
I want to hear those. I want to hear the unfiltered ones. No.
Coach is bring it on.
But there's one that I think we really, I think is a really good one to start with, which is, your son coming to Michigan and kind of what that means for Braden to commit to Michigan.
Well, actually, he's upstairs on their spring break, but
Nice.
yeah, I've been blessed. I got 3 great sons, three beautiful kids, and I say they're kids, they're 20, 21, and 24,
Right.
but yeah, Braden and I are exceptionally freakishly close. As I'll tell you, that's probably like my best friend in life. My 20-year-old son.
Yeah.
I probably talk to him 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
And so I'm very grateful that Kyle and the staff have allowed him to join our program. He wanted to come. If you got to say, I'll tell you a quick story about him.
Sure.
When I took this job, he had already committed to the University of Butler to go be a receiver there. And so then that was like in October or whatever of his senior year, and he was a 3rd-team All-State player in the state of Ohio and Division I. So he did a nice job. Had a good high school career for where he was at in his time. So he goes to he's committed to go to Butler. I come here in March. He comes up in April. Ron Bellamy say, "Hey man, we'd love to have you walk on and come here." He's like, "Yeah, so okay, Dad, I'm gonna now decommit from Butler and I'm gonna come to Michigan." And him and Trina had a long conversation about that, and they devised a plan. This is what we're gonna do, and then as I got involved, and I said, "Well, hell no, that's you absolutely not doing that. You made a commitment to Butler, and they held a spot for you. And if there was some extenuating circumstance that would force you not to go to Butler, then okay, but there's not.
Wow.
Your extenuating circumstance is me taking a job. You're not chasing me. You're gonna go do your own thing. You're gonna build your own name, your own brand. I talk about your name and your brand, and it's so important. And your name is your brand. You're gonna go form your own brand at a place that you made a commitment to. So no, we're not decommitting." because you made a commitment and you're going to stand by that commitment. That's how we do it here.
Right.
And so, yes, you and your mom may have had a discussion, but that's not happening. Well, you told me I can go where I want. I said, you sure can go where you want. And then you're going to Butler. So that's where you're going. If we want it in a year from now, if that's what you want to do, then great. Then we'll talk about it. Well, he tore his knee up, had knee surgery, came back, kind of had to do some other things with the knee. That's why he hasn't played, but he's in position to play. Then he got hurt again. The knee's going to be fine. With that being said, he goes, Dad, I want to come to school at Michigan. He wants to go into medicine and be an orthopedic surgeon. They've got obviously the great medical school here. We were fortunate enough that our family's fortunate enough that they said, yeah, bring him. And so I'm fired up that I'm going to be around my kid every day. And just to be able to sit with him and to watch him grow, I have the rest of my life to be away from him. And so if I can have an opportunity to be around him for a few more years, my God, why wouldn't I do that? That'd be crazy. I mean, my sons are like my most prized possessions, if you will, and I shouldn't call them possessions, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
Why wouldn't I want to be around my kid? And and if he plays, he plays. If he does, he'll carve his way. If he doesn't, then that's on him. And I'm never going to look over his shoulder that way. But to be around my son every day, man, that's gonna be a cool deal.
Heck yeah.
Appreciate you asking. Thank you.
Yeah, Juju, shout out to you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out Juju on that one. Yep. And so the Bull, and actually a couple of people asked this question, but the Bull, I'll highlight that one. He's been a longtime member. Coach Alfred, what is it that you look for in a running back, especially since you have to recruit sophomores and juniors? What's your formula? What do you look for? Go Blue.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that obviously the measurables have to show up. The measurables as far as your speed and agility and all those things, and the film doesn't lie. But really, what I am looking for guys that are tough guys. Are you a tough guy? I mean, like a real bone tough guy. What motivates you? Are you motivated? Is everything extrinsic motivation? Do you have some internal motivation? And are you a team guy? If this is about you, it'll never work. It's got to be about the team. Now, we're all alpha males. We all want to have our success. And I want you to be highly, highly, highly competitive. I want you to be so competitive with the guy that's sitting right next to you in the room, that you're competing at a high level every single day. However, I also want you to champion his successes. I want you to help him be the best that he can be and vice versa. And so I want you to be team. It's about the team. It's about bettering each other and lifting each other and empowering each other to be great. I want guys that are hungry to be coached and I don't want you to be good. I don't even want you to be great. I really want you to aspire to be elite, be an elite player that wants to be coached every day. That's going to as a coach, I'm demand from you. I want you to demand from me as your coach. Coach me and coach me really hard.
Right.
And then take the coaching and be a tough guy, be tough and practice that way. And you prepare that way. And then that ultimately will show up on the field as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
Got it. So here's one from Marmar. So obviously without going into too many specifics to give things away to the enemy, but Coach Alfred, so how will you maximize and use this loaded running back room with all of this talent because of the tough schedule and long season?
Yeah, it is a long season. And I think, to say how we're going to use it, that'll show itself. You can find ways to get guys on the field. Now, some of that might be on special teams, right? So because that's a huge phase of the game. So we'll find ways to get players on the field. And it's, as I stated earlier, we got that circle of trust. You've got to be trusted to be able to play winning football at a high level, to execute at a high level and execute consistently. And so your preparation is key. And so when those things happen, then it's on us and coming on us, coach, to find ways to get guys on the field. And it is an excruciating long season. And it's a tough schedule. We got some hard games, and everyone's like, "Oh, you got to play this team. You got to play them." Well, hell, they got to play us too. So it is what it is, right? So it is a tough schedule, but it is a long, arduous year. But we'll find ways. And the biggest thing is guys just got to continue to prepare and compete at a high level, because the time is coming. Bryson Kuzdzal probably didn't think he was going to play much in week 2. All of a sudden, you look in week 10, 11, 12, that joke is helping us win games.
100
So
yards, 3 touchdowns.
exactly. So it goes to
Yeah.
show that just stay the course. We all are going to have our opportunities. The problem is everybody wants it in their time. I want it in my time. Well, your time might not be the time. But if you just stay the course, everyone's going to get theirs in the end. If that answers that question.
Right. Understood. Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. Just stay the course and keep working, and opportunity presents itself, right? We have Wolverine Casual here. Thank you, Wolverine Casual. We appreciate you, Coach. Thank you so much. And Tony, we're gonna wrap these up quickly for you here. But
we're good.
Deeper cut here. But what are the skill sets you think Bryson Kuzdzal brings to the table? How can he improve? I liked what I saw of him last year, and think him, Jordan Savion, will be the best backfield in the Big Ten. Let's go. What do you think, Coach?
Well, I hope so. I hope he's right.
Yeah.
No, one of the things that Kuz, I think he's had to work on his balance, his contact balance. And a lot of that because he's more of an upright runner, and he's a linear. When I say linear, it's like a sprinter. And so so when he gets hit, his feet aren't in a position that he can that he's got a base under him a lot of times. And he may run a little high, and he's linear runner, so he's like a sprinter. So he doesn't have a real good base upon contact a lot of times, and his pads can be too high because he's not sinking his hips. So we've been working on that diligently. I think he's getting better. I think one of the things that's going to help him is he's gotten bigger and stronger. Where before he was always fighting to stay above 200 pounds. He's in that 198 range, 196 range, and he go to 202. He's been consistently in that 205 range. And so his body is changing. He's matured, his strength levels, and he's got really, really good play speed, actual game speed. And he's a tough kid. He's a tough kid. So, but I think a lot of what's going to help him is just his confidence has grown.
Right.
I watched his confidence grow through the season. And he's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and he's walking around, as I said earlier, with a lot of confidence. So I'm expecting a lot from him, and he's exhibited some leadership qualities just like Jordan has as far as helping the young players. He's not a guy that's going to go out and lead the locker room. That's not his personality, but he does a fabulous job within the room in itself. He's going to be a core special teams player for us as well, and he's one of those players that he's a good player. So we have to find ways to get him on the field. And a lot of people may mistake being on the field as have to be within the offensive infrastructure, but that could be on special teams too. Just get on the field of play and help us win. And he's going to be a guy he's going to help his team win a lot of games.
All right. From Michigan Wolverines, Tony, you've spent a fair amount of time perfecting your craft as a running backs coach. Is running back coaching what you feel is your specific calling? Do you have a desire someday to become an OC, head coach? Please retire a Wolverine regardless.
Well, I don't know if there's a position that's my calling. I think my calling is just, I hope my calling is to just help young people grow. And I get to do it in the name of football. And I say this all the time. My job is no different than the chemistry teacher. There's just more people watching, as I said. And what are the messages that you can deliver to young people every day to help lift them, to help grow them as young men, as people, obviously as players, and we get to do it in the name of football. Now, with that being said, do I desire to be an offensive coordinator? No. Do I have a desire? Do I have a desire to be a head coach? Yes.
Okay.
If it's the right situation. And when I say the right situation, not just for me, but obviously for them too. Every head coaching position is not good for. I'm not good for everybody, and everybody's not good for me. And so it's got to be a fit. And I don't take things personal if all of a sudden, I look at my alma mater. I didn't get the job. Did I take that? Was I upset and hurt by it? Sure, because that's where I grew up. That's where I played. That was what I considered my home, and so to speak. But it wasn't. I hope it wasn't a personal attack at me that they didn't want me. I think it is. I think the leadership of any particular program, they've got to hire who they think is best for them at that moment in time.
Right.
And it doesn't mean if it's not you, that does not mean that all of a sudden that, well, for instance, TJ says, hey, I want you to come on my podcast. If I say, well, no, I can't, I'm going to go do this person's podcast. So there's probably a reason for that. Not that I don't like TJ. Just it was just that, hey, I had to go do this at this moment in time. And so I try not to take that personal, and it's got to be a good fit for everybody. And so I say all that to be said that being a head coach is not going to define me. My relationships are going to define me.
Yeah.
You know, J.K. Dobbins calling me,
Right.
that defines me. My relationships with my past, current, and future players, my relationships with my children and my nephews, one who's playing for us now. Those are the things that are going to define me, and not being a head coach. And so, the good Lord's going to put me where He wants me to be anyway. So I can fight and scratch and do all these things, but I'm going to be put where I need to be. And right now I'm at Michigan, so that's where my feet are at. That's where my focus is going to be at, and has been, and will remain. If something happens that says no, you're going to go do something else, then that'll happen. But right now, I have no thought patterns of being out of here, especially now that my kids are here.
Good. But all right, Coach, we're going to go 5 more minutes here. We want to respect your time.
Plenty of time.
Okay. Oh, nice. Well, we appreciate that. All right, John, let's go through them.
Yeah, so we call him, of course, Wolverine Not So Casual, because he knows a lot about football. And here's one. So do we think we continue to run more zone stuff in this year's offense, or we might move back to a gap-based scheme?
I think we might do both.
Yeah, I like it.
I think yeah, we're going to run a multitude of things. This is the multiple sets and ways to get to things. And but at the end of the day, we're going to do what we feel is necessary. And Jason, obviously being offensive coordinator, we will do the things that we feel are necessary to optimize not just the players that we have, but in the infrastructure of our offense. But we'll do whatever it takes to win games. And if that's zone, if that's gap, if it's outside zone, if it's pin and pull schemes, man pull schemes, it is what it is. We will do the things that are necessary to win. But the cool thing is we have all those things at our disposal in the arsenal to do them.
Got it. I'm actually very curious about this one. What could you maybe share about the spring game and those of us who are going to Ann Arbor, what the setup might look like?
And this is not me lying. This is honest to God's truth. I have zero clue. Okay. We haven't even. We're trying to get to day 1 of spring. We're not talking about day 15 yet. Of what the structure of that game's gonna look like. We haven't even broached that topic. So I really don't know.
Tell Coach Whittingham we want one-on-ones.
I'll make sure that we'll tell him as such, and I'm sure he'll listen.
I bet.
Yes. Goats, since Yost, thank you for your membership. Really excited to see Jason Beck's offense in action. For your area of the offense, what's the most common misconception that young running backs have about pass protection at this level? Thanks, Coach. Go Blue.
I don't know if there's a misconception. Gosh, that's a great question. I think the biggest thing is understanding where they fit, right? Because a lot of them, some high schools are a little more intricate than others, but I'm going to slide protect and I'm going to block the guy off the edge. Okay. Well, yeah, no, not so much. We're not going to hook you up with the defensive end. So, I think the biggest thing is understanding where they fit in the protection. Is it a 4-down scheme? Is it a 3-down scheme? And all the corresponding calls, offensive line calls that go along with it. As we said, you're going to play in these stadiums where, I didn't hear the ID. I didn't hear where they're IDing it to or where they're pushing the protection to. You're not going to hear. It's a loud stadium. So you have to be able to see things on site based on fronts. And so there is a litany of calls that go along in pass with the 6-man protection we're talking about. There's a litany of calls that go along with that. So one of the things I try to do is shrink it down to say, is it a 4-down front? If it's a 4-down front, here are the 2 or 3 calls that correlate with that. If it's a 3-down front, here are the 2 or 3 calls that correlate with that. So you have to know the front before the ball snapped.
Right.
And so if you understand schematically where it's going, then you'll be unified with the offensive line. Okay, here's where we're IDing it to. Then once I understand where I'm going, now you have to go execute. and it's not just go get in the way. There's technique to pass pro, or you're just going to get run over and put your tail but behind they're going to knock your tail behind the quarterback. So there's a lot that goes into it. Most high school kids coming in, young players, that was not part of the high school contract, is to block, because you're the best player on the team. So we're going to give you the ball. We're not going to have your ass back there blocking. So there's a learning curve that goes with that.
Right.
And that takes a little bit of time. And so an inordinate amount of time is spent on that, because that's not something they've been accustomed to doing.
Would you also say it's a mentality?
Absolutely. If you listen, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, hey, let me go stand in this A gap.
Right.
And block a 235, 240 linebacker running downhill at my face. Right. Nobody said, hey, boy, sign me up for that.
Yeah.
And so you've got to want to do that. And there's a toughness factor that comes into that one. In a competitive juice and fire that comes with that one. Like, hey, I'm going to go and compete and win. And I'm going to put me in that competitive situation that I'm going to go win. Like, I'm going to walk into this fist fight, because that's what it is.
Right.
I'm going to walk into this fist fight, knowingly walk into this fist fight, and I'm going to try to tear your face off you. That's the mentality. You have to go on with that, and all the technique that comes along with it. But at the end of the day, go win.
That's right.
That's
okay,
it.
We have a super chat here from Beans. Fire super chat. He goes, how is Donovan Johnson's recovery process going? How's he handling that? Is he doing
good?
Well?
He's been fantastic, right? He's had 2 of them, and I, when he got the second one, I remember I was probably more devastated than him, and he's like, Coach, I'm going to be okay. And he's a very God-fearing young man, and as he'll say, hey, this is just part of God's plan, Coach, I'm going to be good. And he's taken that approach every single day, and he looks good running. We're not going to put him in contact just yet in the spring. Don't feel we need to do that. But he'll be doing some things this spring, and starting to cut him loose more as far as some team things, and as we move forward. But he's been fantastic, and he studied. He's been in a film room and in the meeting rooms. He's studying. He's helping the young players. So he's stayed completely engrossed and completely engaged. He's not allowed, nor have we as coaches, myself, Fred Jackson, Jordan Marshall, no one's allowed him to get away from it and away from the team. Sometimes you can kind of feel like you're on an island by yourself when you're just rehabbing, but we've not allowed that, and he hasn't asked to do that, and he's completely engrossed himself in everything we're doing. So very pleased with where he's at and what he's doing and how he's handled. He's handled it like a complete professional.
Absolutely.
Love it.
All right, John.
Yeah, so let's see. Wolverine Not So Casual. If you had to pick one high school prospect that you missed out on that you would have loved to coach, who would you pick?
That I missed or I didn't get? Those are 2 different things, right?
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you go after some guys, you don't get them all.
How frustrating is that too? Is that frustrating, Coach? Like,
it is, because you're competitive. Right, because you're competitive, but in what you try to do is just figure out, okay, what can I do better the next time so this doesn't happen. You're not gonna get them all. And I guess the one thing is, being the competitive environment that we're in, you lose one, and you can either tuck your tail and sulk, or you can say, by God, okay, I'm gonna go get the next one. It is what it is. And it sucks, and you learn from it. And but to say, well, a guy lost a recruit, he sucks, he can't recruit. Well, you're gonna lose more than you get. Right? It's kind of like baseball. You go to the bat, you're gonna probably strike out more than you're gonna hit home runs. Right.
Yeah.
And
right.
So but you find ways to just keep it moving and get the players that you can get. But to say, obviously we didn't get, back in the day, I didn't get Bijan Robinson. He was committed, then he decommitted. That one stung. That one stung.
I'd argue I'm happy you didn't. But yeah,
he's special. I'm trying to think. A guy that I really would have liked to have coached that I got really close to was Mark Fletcher, kid out of Miami. I really wanted to coach that kid. And things were, but he wanted to stay close to home, and Mom doesn't fly and all the things. And a lot of things took place in there and at the 11th hour. But something, he went where he needed to go. And, I'll say this, I got another guy that I was disappointed I didn't get. This is funny. I didn't get Justice Haynes on the front end.
Yeah.
Right. But in today's era, if you do, I believe this, today's era, if you do things right and you build organic and unconditional relationships,
anything can happen
that aren't tied to, well, if you didn't do exactly what I wanted you to, you didn't come with me right now, so to hell with you.
Right.
Or, something, you got to go do what you got to do. I get it. And unconditional meaning that I'm here to help you grow as a man, as a person. Regardless if you come with me or not, we build an organic relationship that I'm here to help assist you and grow you as a man. Those things just might come back to you later in today's era of the transfer portal. And for us, it did. And now, granted, he was only here for a season, but it was a hell of a season he had until he got hurt. And so I'm to say who you, and I guess you say, well, who's the one that you miss, you wish you had? I guess I don't get tied up too much in it because I'm gonna worry about the ones I got.
That's right.
Fair.
That's right.
And I can't spend time worrying about and thinking about the ones I didn't get. Listen, we got some really good ones in this room. I'm gonna worry about the ones I got, not the ones I didn't.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, and you got some good ones in the room, right? So, all right. So, Goats and Shows here says, what are your 4 backs all time? Your Mount Rushmore is a great question.
That I coached?
I think all time. Or I don't know. How about you tell us. You pick, Coach. What do you think? You want to do who you coach, or you want to do an all time?
Well, if you go who I coached,
yeah.
Well, obviously Zeke, JK.
Yeah.
Zeke's pretty good. JK was pretty good.
Yeah, he was okay.
Trey Henderson. Yeah. And I'm saying all the Ohio State guys, that's where I spent most of my time, right?
Sure.
Okay. I'm hoping that Savion or Jordan will be the next one. But I've been fortunate. I've coached some really, really good ones. But if you say all time, Reggie Bush, Ricky Williams, I was at Iowa State when Ricky Williams was at Texas, and he broke every record known to man against us. It seemed like, I coached against Adrian Peterson. When he was at Oklahoma.
Right.
So those 3 guys I just named, I mean, my Lord in heaven. Right. But I would put Zeke up there with all them cats.
Yeah.
I'd put Zeke up there with all of them. And, so, to say who the 4 best, I don't know if that's really a fair statement, right? Because there's so many great players and guys that had such great success in their time, in their moment.
Right.
And to say who's better than who, well, you're cutting hairs. You're really cutting hair. I think you're cutting hairs. And I don't know if that maybe that was an easy way out for me to say I'm not going to get myself in a jam.
No, it's fair. No, it's curious to get your opinion of the players you coached. All right, John, do we have any more?
Well, there's one about Tatum, and I know that he has split to safety. Yeah.
That's right.
But aside from that, we do have just some love. So we've got Wolverine Warrior. Thank you for being here. The community loves you, right? We have that. We got Go Blue from Allen. We've got Coach Alfred. We're excited to have you here at Michigan from Ryan Hall, who's also gifted like a whole bunch of memberships tonight. So thank you, Ryan, for everything that you do. Let's see. Amazing community. Thank you. Great interview. Hearing from Dark Thunder, hearing about his relationship with Braden touched me. Best of luck and Go Blue. So thank you to Dark Thunder. And I like this one. Let's have one more real question here, and then we'll say because I love this one.
Final question. We'll do.
Michigander. Last question. What's the difference between portal and high school recruiting?
Wow. It's very different. The high school recruiting is still about, it's all about, I still believe it's all about relationship, not all. A lot of it's obviously NIL.
Sure.
Major portion of NIL. But I still believe, relationships are important. And maybe that's an archaic way of thinking. Maybe that's naive way of still thinking. But I'm a firm believer that relationships still matter. right? Especially when it gets hard and you got to coach a kid real hard. If you don't have a relationship, you can't do that. Because kids will just jump in the portal because they can. So relationships matter. But with that being said, there's a lot of whining and dining that goes along in high school recruiting, right? I won't say coddling, but a lot of whining and dining. The
Right.
portal's a little different. The portals are much like free agency. Like, listen, I don't need to go to all the expensive dinners and the steak dinners and to see all the bells and whistles and boy, your weight room is nicer than this weight room and this, that, and the third. This is a business. These cats are moving because now they're saying, listen, man, I got 2 years, 1 year, whatever to try to make my name to go to the league or go do whatever I'm looking to go do. So how are you going to put me in position to maximize those things in a very, very short amount of time?
Right.
That's the difference, because the conversation piece is a little bit different. High school kid, you've got 3 to 4 years of growth and development. These portal guys, these are usually plug and play. You got to come in right now and be a dude. And if you are what we think you are and what you say you are, I'm probably only going to have you for 1 year.
Right.
There's the difference. So so it moves much faster. Recruiting high school kids starts when you're freshman, sophomore, and it's a 2-year proposition. This whole thing in the portal, it could be done within days. I mean, literally days. Now, full transparency, most of those kids that get into the portal are really high enders. They knew where they were going before they got in it.
Right. We know. Yeah.
Right. Now we can sit up here and say all the different things that go along. I probably shouldn't say that. But
Sure.
fact of the matter is, them dudes know, most of them cats, they know where they're going before they ever get in there. Right. Through however they do that, which I can't speak on that. But most of them know where they're going, and those decisions have been made. And so there's not a whole lot of going back and forth other than maybe some NIL stuff, but they pretty much know what they're doing. But so there's the difference. There's a lot of whining and dining that happens for many, many years versus a short-term fix of, hey, I'm going to come in. Here's why I'm coming in. Here's what I'm presenting to you. Here's what you're presenting to me. And let's make it a match and let's move on.
Absolutely. No, great insight, Coach. We appreciate that.
Love this one,
so
because we were going to ask
a good
it anyway.
fund. It's called the Braden Alfred Fund. No, I'm playing. No, I'm playing. Jokes.
Yeah.
They're saying what's a good fund to distribute to as far as
they want to support you, Coach. How can
the community support you?
By supporting our players.
Love it.
By supporting just continue to support this program. As I am flattered that you'd even say something like that. That's amazing. But in all reality, the best way to support Coach Alfred is to support Michigan Wolverine athletics, Michigan Wolverine football in particular. That's the best way. And just be there for our players. And listen, that's not all monetary. Right? That's not, and everybody thinks when you're in supporting, I got to give money. That's not all monetary. A lot of it is just emotional support. Social media is a very dangerous thing. Now, it can be used in a positive way, but it can also be used in a negative way. And so I would say that how are people, not just me or you or our players included, but how are people leveraging their influence? Because we all have an ability to influence people. We all influence others. So we have a full autonomy of how do we leverage that influence. We can do it in a positive manner or in a negative manner. And so when you say, how do I support Coach Alfred? Here's how. If you want to do it monetarily, fantastic. That's obviously be great, especially in our world we're living in. But that also could mean just emotional support of our players. You're talking about impressionable 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. And so supporting them, even when it's hard. Didn't say don't call out mistakes. Didn't say that. But some of the venomous stuff that these kids are reading and hearing, I go back to these young men, and I use Ohio State because that's the last time I remember right close and personal. Basketball players, some of the kicker when we got beat by Georgia, players, athletes, young people getting death threats.
Yeah.
Because they missed a free throw or they do an interception, they missed a tackle. I'm like, what are we doing?
I know.
Right. And so they didn't say don't call out mistakes. but use the platform and the influence that you have, hopefully in a positive way, to support young people, in particular our players, because that's who I'm with. And so that would be that's how you can help me, is to help our players be the best that they can be, and help our players truly embrace the University of Michigan and the Wolverine family and be proud to be Michigan men. That's the best way that I think. And I don't know if that answers that question, but that's
100%.
how you do it.
Yeah, 100%,
in my opinion. 100%. That's how you help me.
Absolutely, Coach. Absolutely. And I know this community is all for that. And I just want to say, Coach, on behalf of myself, John D'Adamo, our community, we greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your day and coming on here with us and just talking ball, man. Like, what a wonderful conversation, the authenticity, the transparency. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Coach.
Well, I'm flattered. Again, I do. I so appreciate you guys. And TJ, like I said, you've always been very supportive of me since the day I got here, for no good reason you have. And so I'm grateful and appreciative, and to you as well. Thank you for having me. Go Blue, and let's just keep this thing moving.
Absolutely, Coach. Let's go. Let's get ready for some spring ball.
Go Blue, Coach.
All right. Go Blue, guys. Take care. I appreciate you. Have a great night.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
All right.
You too.
All right, boys. What an interview with Coach, man. Jeez. That was a great interview. Like, oh my goodness.
He was extremely generous of his time. We normally do 20-minute interviews.
Yeah.
He was here an hour and over an hour.
Wow.
Incredible.
And that was not planned, by the way. He did that out of his own just graciousness. So appreciate Coach Alfred, man. And let's go, dude. Like, some great answers to some questions there. We got some insight to a lot of things. I mean, I'll tell you what, and I mean this. We all know, because we all talk about it. Like, big fan. We've all been big fans of Coach Alfred. He was like number one in our returning coaches rankings, right? Like, everybody wanted Coach. But this interview, I'm going to be very honest. Me and Coach have spoken before, but man, got to learn a lot more tonight. Major fan. Definitely rooting for him. And not just football either. I mean, Coach is not only that, good dude. Good dude.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna just now highlight some questions that either were repeats we already addressed, but we still want to thank the contributions. So obviously, Michigander. So we touched on Savion a couple of times with Coach, but thank you for that. Alan Go, I think we did highlight that one. What characteristics are you looking at? That's obviously something we touched on. Sharonley fans, I had him flip the name.
My brother.
But we did get the name change in there.
You know what's funny is I wanted to show that one, but I was like, all right, we gotta be careful. Careful.
So we just did for a second, and then we and we touched on this, obviously. Ryan Hall has gifted, I don't even know how many at this point, 20, 30 memberships potentially. Wow. That's incredible. 30 memberships and a couple of super chats from him.
And right in time for some spring ball, man. So Ryan, thank you very much. You've always been a major supporter of the channel. We appreciate it, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one, I thought we should probably avoid specifics on 2027 recruits.
Yeah, well, he can't. He's not allowed.
Yeah,
coaches are not allowed to publicly speak on recruits who are not a part of Michigan. So that is why we had to skip that one.
Yeah. Yep. And Ryan with another. So 30 gifteds there, and then we did that one. Thank you, Ryan, for all that you did today. Then we had Don come in at the last second with a couple OHIO, OHNO, and Don also saying, it's all love, TJ and JD. Thanks for this inspire interview. Inspire. Coach, did you get some film from my sister Doreen? So Doreen and Coach can discuss that offline. But Doreen is here, and thank you, Doreen, for being here as well. Doug, whoa, that's a compliment. Thank you. Man. Wow.
Appreciate it. I'll just say this. We've had we've had interviews, right? We brought to the show. Sometimes they just flow very well. It's just a good connection and chemistry and all that. So, and then not only that, Coach was very comfortable. You could tell he was very comfortable, and that was, obviously has a lot of experience doing interviews and conferences and all that stuff. But I agree. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to rewatch this interview because it was very good. And let me just say this too. Thank all of you for being here to experience it with us, right? Because we're enjoying it just as much as you are. So yeah, it was very fun.
Thank you to Rip Holtz, who I don't know if that's who I think it is, or if that's Goats, or if that's somebody else, but thank you.
Who knows? It's all good. All good.
Steve, yes, you now know one of the people that is in the ecosystem,
Sure.
Coach Alford. So Steven, of course, is a Buckeye. Now I get to hear TJ say my sources are telling me a million times.
Keep moving.
Mar, great show. Appreciate that. Tried to get to everybody's questions if we could. We really did try. He was very nice with his time. So
absolutely.
And thank you, Ryan. And right back at like everything you're doing tonight. Thank you. So yeah, Ryan is awesome. Let's one more time just thank our sponsor before we get to a couple of quick topics before we wrap. So thank you to our newest sponsor, Freedom Services EPC. Quality you can trust, people you can count on, serving all the USA's oil and gas needs. freedomservicesepc.com. Appreciate that. Okay. So obviously we just heard from the source, Coach Alford, talking about his time with Coach Whittingham so far, how it's very program-driven, process-driven. It's very much, it's going to be this way, and that's how it is. But TJ, I know you wanted to touch on, Kyle Whittingham is here to win. He came to win a natty because that's why you come to Michigan at this stage in your career. You're trying to win some hardware.
Right. Absolutely. Do we have the video, John? Did we get that thing ready? I know we were focused on the interview. Did we have that one though?
No. Is that where do we go? Where do we go?
I wanted the Andy Staples interview I sent you earlier. Did we have
I
that?
Didn't see it.
Hold on 1 second, boys. We were focused on damn, my phone went crazy. I sent it to you. Let me see if I can pull it up, John. I should have had this ready, so that's on me.
It's all good.
You got it? Because I want. So, for example, here, how about this? You look for it. It's on Andy Staples' account. So, essentially, look, we have talked about Kyle Whittingham and what he's come to Michigan to achieve. Right? I feel, personally, Coach Whittingham said he's here for a final challenge. And we talked about this. You may be asking, TJ, you talked about this. Why would you, why are we hitting on this again? And I'm going to tell you why. If we can get, when did this post happen? 8:41?
I found it.
You got it? All right, thank you. Yeah, pull this up. So here's why. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Andy Staples has come to a realization that we have brought to this channel some time now. And I want... All right.
But it's very interesting because let's say Michigan had fired Sharon Moore in a more conventional way and it had been just for losing and it had been at the end of the season. And Kyle had been one of the coaches that was available, but one of many that was available. The whole cycle hadn't already been done. I still would have called hiring Kyle Whittingham maybe the best hire of the cycle. I don't think a 66-year-old guy goes to this place to rebuild it. He's going to win now. That's the whole point of this. He's not doing this except it is to win now.
But Andy, their need for him to win now from a program standpoint, even if you view him as a 4 or 5 year rental, is so massive because they were so close to breaking through and being in the same sphere as.
But I think if Kyle Whittingham had replaced Jim Harbaugh, they probably would have broken through.
Yeah,
and just stayed there.
So to the point, though, right? Whittingham's here to win. Like I don't know if rivals have grasped that concept. I know some Michigan fans have, they're hoping for the best, but I really stand on the premise that we have a window here to win a national title. Kyle Whittingham is without question here to achieve that. And we just heard from Coach Alford That's what it's about. One thing I loved in the interview that we just had with Coach Alfred
Hmm.
is, he didn't make the excuse for the age or the youth of Bryce Underwood. He says, you know what?
No.
To your point, he said, to your point, TJ, that doesn't matter. No one cares. Like, what matters is the results, right? And the point where I'm getting at is that's what it is. And I can promise that Coach Whittingham is not here to be a placeholder and for the next man. Like, Kyle Whittingham is here to create his legacy at Michigan. And that's something that we need to, in my opinion, realize as a fan base. Like, I mean, listen, I don't want to, now let me just qualify myself. I'm not saying a dynasty run here, boys. We're not saying anything that is outside of reality, or not saying, I don't want to say it's not reality. You never know, but I'm very confident as a fan looking at how this thing is moving and operating and the way they are structuring it and the attention to detail and the little things that they are doing in terms of the position coaches and the recruiting staff and the uniqueness to the approach. They're not effing around. And like, that fires me up. Like, I have a lot of hope for this team, this coaching staff. I think the direction is very, very good. And I love, like, one of the things I love, John, is me and you, we come on here, we give our takes, we give our positions to the best of our ability. And then when somebody else so shout out to Andy Staples, right, gives an opinion that I feel aligns with my own, one, obviously confirmation, appreciate it. But two, to me, it's confirmation in accuracy, right? Confirmation and accuracy to the very premise, right? So I just think it's something as a fan base. I just want to make sure, one of the things of this show, I just want to make sure we are aware that this staff, this coach is not here to not win. We're here for a damn championship, a national championship. And I appreciate that that's going to be that's the standard right now. And also to Coach Alfred's, another thing he said that was epic. We're going to tell you what our expectations are. You're not.
Yes, I love that.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, it's not negotiable. It's very team oriented. It's not about the individual. It's about, following the process. So I think that's exactly what we want to be hearing at this stage, especially after the tumultuous last few years, to hear that it's a coaching staff that knows what to do. Clearly, Coach Alford is in this every day. You can hear it in answering all the questions from the community that that they're gonna mix it up. They're gonna adapt to personnel. He agreed with the Coach Beck on that front.
Yeah.
And so it definitely is exciting kind of going into spring ball, and we'll obviously be covering a lot on spring ball and as we hear tidbits come through.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And here's the great news. It starts now. Like, it's March 10th. Spring ball is 7 days away. We are a week away, and it's going to pick up. It's going to be fun for the next month and a half. And sure, we'll go on a bit of a lull, but let's just be honest. Let's enjoy some summer. It's finally getting warm, and then football season is going to be right here, man. And I can't wait, and I'm excited. And the first year, right? I need the laptop charger. Laptop. That's phone. Thank you. Yeah, the first, I don't know, just first season. I don't know. I'm ready, man. Like, I'll tell you this. If anyone can recall Harbaugh's first year, what that was like, seeing a well-coached team, I have vibes. I'm going to put myself on a limb here. That is my expectation. I expect to see that. I expect when we watch our team play, you'll have an inner knowing that, oh, this is good football. Now it's not perfect. We
Sure.
will probably have some weak points, right? We have some areas we will need to get better, but we're going to know that this is a well-coached team, and that's what I'm most excited about.
If it can look similar to how it looked when Brady Hoke got fired and Jim Harbaugh came in,
Right.
I'd be thrilled, right? Because you immediately saw the mentality shift. The coaching competence went up 5 notches. And you saw it in the spring, and you saw it even in the first game, ironically, against Utah and Whittingham, which Michigan did lose, but you saw the competence go up so much, which carried through to a 10-win, right, year for Harbaugh in his first year. Pretty impressive. Right. And so if we see that again, that jump from the coaching before to now, and obviously Coach Alford, we believe was fantastic to retain, but there was a change needed in some of the other positions. Well, now there are experienced people in place at each of these roles, so it's very exciting stuff.
Hey,
TJ,
I wanted to pull this up. So we have a Buckeye here. He says, "Real talk, Whit was one of the best case scenarios." I wanted to hit on that. John, can you take it for a second? I gotta plug my laptop in. It's about to die. One minute.
Sure. Yeah. Whit was the best case scenario. I agree, because once DeBoer had his victory in the playoffs, he was off the table for all intents and purposes. And when you think about it, I had Whittingham like third on my hot board, like Pat, and I'll totally own up to that. Like I had DeBoer and Dillingham ahead, but I didn't realize that he was going to be pulling staff in the way that he is. I didn't realize he was going to be knocking on the doors of like Vanderbilt and BYU and USC most recently, right? Like these staff and these front office people, not just from Whittingham's direct coaching and direct tree, but going outside of it. And that's what got me really excited, because I wasn't sure he was going to do that when we were evaluating head coaches, to be honest. I wasn't sure. I didn't really know what to expect. And I'll own up to that, right?
Yeah.
This is great, but in retrospect, very good. That was the best. I think he was the best case scenario in given what we had to deal with.
Well, all right. Well, let's hit on that, right?
Yeah.
So Goats and Jost, obviously loyal community member. We appreciate you. He goes, I also had Dillingham ahead. I feel foolish now. So let's reflect on that.
Sure.
We all did, Goats.
Mm-hmm.
No one didn't have. We all had DeBoer and Dillingham as like, if we all remember that, how that went down. And looking back at it, though, like in reflection is history, right?
Yep.
Well, can we just be honest, though? All right, so DeBoer was the prize at the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel we may have been pulling our hairs out with the running game, lacking physicality. Sometimes his teams get out toughed. It's something that I think we would all agree. If Michigan doesn't have a good running game, that's a problem. And if it ain't a physical running game either, we love that, right? That's our identity. So I think potentially the Whittingham play, it was the correct choice. Now, what's interesting about Dillingham, right? Young, up and coming, energetic coach, great mind, respected, energy, enthusiasm, right? Still young. Has not been at a program like this, and one would argue, well, Kyle Whittingham was at Utah. Yeah, but Kyle Whittingham took Utah to some places. Like, they achieved some things. They beat some top teams. Like, he's
20 years.
Yeah, he's
experience there.
He's fine wine, quite frankly. Whittingham is fine. That's the thing, and then what's interesting is Andy Staples' point. He goes, well, if it would have went Harbaugh to Whittingham, he feels that Michigan would have maintained that elite, probably top five level, top 3 level program. I've said this before on the show, one of my biggest wants, and this was prior to us beating Alabama in the Rose Bowl, because that's when I was like, oh, we achieved this. I always wanted to be a top 3 program. Like, I was like, damn, I want Michigan to be a top 3 program. Like, I wanted it so bad. And when they beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl, I was like, oh, we are here. Like, we have achieved, we are a top 3 program. And quite frankly, we became the top program, right? But won the Natty that year. But yeah, I mean, I just feel the way the infrastructure is at Michigan, and I don't just mean football. I'm talking the collectives and the donors and all of this. We're going to win. We're going to win. And you're seeing it with the basketball team. You're seeing it with the hockey team. You've seen what the girls basketball team has to, prove it this March, right? But they're a top 10 program. I'm excited. I think I listen, I've said this will be my final thought on this topic, John.
Sure.
We are about to enter a very good era for Michigan sports, Michigan athletics. And if you're a fan, which I know we are, it's gonna be a good ride.
Absolutely. Yep, I'm with you. And I think he was the leader we needed, but not necessarily the one we wanted at the time. And now here we go. And so I think you're right. I think it's really a Harbaugh-esque approach in terms of competence, in terms of running the program in a very skilled way. Everybody knows what to do. Everybody's in the right places. And he went outside his tree again, which somebody who's above 60 years old, you expect them to just bring their people. You don't really think they're going to, but he really, honest to God, wants a natty. And I think he wanted to put the best people that he possibly could in each position, whether they were Utah people or BYU people or Vanderbilt people or whatever the case may be, or retaining Coach Alfred, right? So he's kind of created like a super squad, like Avengers-esque coaching staff, low key. So we'll see what happens, obviously, on the field. We need to see them pop those pads, right? But at the same time, it's about the best start you possibly can have.
Well said, because you're right.
And then we got our buddy Sharon.
It's all right, Sharon.
I
know.
It's all good. We tried.
I'm not gonna lie, I caught it. I caught it and I was like, damn, we gotta get that down.
Yeah.
But it's all good, brother. Hey, we know we love it. We love the avatar. We love the name. We might even have some ideas.
Yes.
So but no, it's all good, brother. No big deal. It's okay. I think it's okay. We'll find out if it wasn't. I think it was okay.
Yeah, I agree with you though that he doesn't want to be an OC, but he does want to be a head coach. That was interesting.
Honestly, man, just such good answers. He did not phone that interview. He did not phone this in at all. He gave us his time. No. He gave us just well thought, emotional, transparent. Love it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, listen, I've mentioned this before. Just hear me out if this isn't for you. But all right, so I'm a big philosophy guy. I love philosophy. I believe in the philosophy of coachism, dude. I really do. I think coach speak has truth. And it's facts. There's a reason why it works. There's a reason why these athletes who are at the most competitive, this really, one could argue, one of, if not the most competitive industries, right, for a profession. Although, I mean, maybe I'm sure someone would argue like some lawyer shit or something, but or like something on Wall Street. But you get my point. There's a reason why that approach and the verbiage and the philosophy of coach speak, it does work. Some people say, oh, it's just coach speak. No. There's a lot of good, end of the day, results. And they know that because their jobs rely on it. The kids they coach's careers and futures rely on it. That's how you know it's real. That's how you know it's true, because it's being used in some of the most consequential profession. It is easy to get fired. It is easy to be cut. It is easy to not be good enough. So you have to have everything you possibly can at your disposal in terms of the approach from coach speak itself to get you to those next levels, right? Like, I mean, look, Savion Hyder, right? Top recruit, big dog. Guess what? Coach Alfred wasn't happy with that walkthrough, right? That walkthrough wasn't good enough. Like, we got to keep getting after. And then the other thing too, like for example, his philosophy on gold nuggets and pockets, bro. Like, every day it compounds, right? Over time. Well, now you've gained something, right? That's why they say 1% better every day. That's not bullshit. That's not bullshit. That can be applied to everything in life, dude. Fitness, work, relationships, everything. That's why I love it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, Goats, just hearing, and I've touched on this, but Goats saying about Coach Alfred, talking about Coach Witt's more organized and clearly communicated approach is refreshing. Yeah, we weren't exactly hearing that stuff before, were we? And now we are. So that is something that even the the Michigan narrative, that was the sugar-coated Michigan narrative, wasn't talking about how organized and clearly communicated. Even the most rosy people weren't saying it like that. They are with Whittingham, and I think it's great to hear it straight from the source that he's experiencing that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's what we expected as well, right? That's what we're hearing about how Whittingham approaches things. It's non-negotiable. You know, Whittingham said in his introductory press conference, you know, you will conform to us, not to you.
Mm-hmm.
Something, I might have paraphrased it, but something along those lines.
Wolverine, thank you for the 2. John and TJ, excellent show. Great interview. Thank you for being here and for asking questions and for super chatting. Means a lot. Ryan is back. You're welcome. So I thanked him in the chat for the super chats and the membership gifts, and he said, "You're welcome. The best YouTube channel." That means the world. It does.
Yeah, it does mean a lot. It does mean a lot, man. So we appreciate it.
Because, you know, TJ and I are busting it, trying to find good guests, trying to find good content, especially this time of year. Not the easiest. So to hear something like that, thank you, because it means that what we're putting in it's being recognized and appreciated, and that does mean the world. We got Don here. Hey, I'm sure I will be public enemy number 2 for chilling with y'all to some OSU podcasts, but I rock with the Voice of College Football brand, and we rock with you. And I know I've seen you on Menace Army all the time, but appreciate you and Doreen for being part of tonight.
Well, we've always had this philosophy: Buckeyes are welcome.
Mm-hmm.
We respect the rivalry. We don't like, we don't like you. Now, Don, you're probably a dope ass dude. We'd get a beer. We'd probably watch a game, have a great time. Our teams are not friends. Our teams are not friends, but we do love college football, right? That's our common, that's our commonality. So Buckeyes are always welcome here. And this goes both ways, by the way. Just keep it respectful. You know, that's our only rule. You're always welcome here. We have tons of Buckeyes. That's the other thing too. Like, here, you want to know an open secret? We have tons of Buckeyes who watch the show. Listen, I got Steve right now yelling at me. Steve on Twitter. I see you, Steve. He's yelling at me all the time. You know, there's tons of Buckeyes. It's all good. Listen, I don't hate Buckeyes. I actually enjoy the banter. I love the debates. I love the banter. I love the trash talk. I love it when we win and you lose. It's a great time. I love planting flags. I love winning, you know, the game. I hate losing the game. Like, it's a great time, man. So it's all love.
For sure. Hey, Dadoy, I haven't seen you in a minute with the 5. Thank you for coming back for this. I was so down about U of M football after Morris crap. I hear you. And then along came Wit. September can't get here soon enough, and super happy Tony Alford stayed. Yeah, I am thrilled. It's really great that he was able to be retained, and that Whittingham saw the value. And obviously we all saw the value because we all were saying he should be kept. And there we are. So very true, Dadoy. Thank you. Hockey, who would you consider top 3 programs in football?
Yeah, like we talked about, like, remember I mentioned I wanted to be a top 3 program. So like, who would we consider presently the top 3 programs? I have my list. I will say there's a program that I think could make the argument, considering they just won a national title, which I think automatically puts them in that base. But I mean, a consistent top 3 program. I mean, I can
name one. Name one. So then I'll name one.
All right. Well, I'll say one that I'll just be honest about. Ohio State's a top 3 program.
Yeah, that's on my list too.
Program, and I don't give a shit. And let me tell you, that's why Buckeyes do like me. Now, listen, I don't like you. I don't like your program. All right. I respect your program though. You got a damn good fucking program. And we're gonna keep doing our best to beat you. You know, we're a great program too. That's what makes the rivalry wonderful. But listen, Ohio State, it's a well-oiled machine. They win, bro. But you know what? We run this decade. Let's not forget that. We also have that all-time record. Let's not forget about that either.
So I'm gonna go Georgia. So Georgia under Kirby Smart has consistently, even during the NIL era, when many SEC teams have been falling off, and Nick Saban goes on TV complaining about NIL and all of these things, Georgia under Kirby Smart has still found a way to contend at the highest level of college football. They won 2 natties not that long ago. They've been in the conversation the last few years. So I think Georgia, I would put Georgia still in my top 3 based on the coaching, the caliber of coaching.
I also would argue Georgia is a lock in the top 3. This is not, to me, a debatable thing. I think Georgia is a lock. I agree with you. The next team, John, would have been Alabama, but it's not. Alabama has fallen out of top 3 status under Kalen DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So right now, as it stands, because Indiana won a national title, they hold that crown just as we did in 2023. Like, Indiana, in my opinion, deserves to be a top 3 program. Now, if I was going to argue it not just a 1-year window, right? I'm putting Oregon at 3 right now. Oregon is consistently a top program. They may win the Natty this year. It's a well-ass oiled machine with a good-ass coach. And now a coach who still has to prove it, right? He's got to, he doesn't want to have the James Franklin-itis, which is not winning the big games, but that's where I put him. Who would you put?
I'm shocked based on how much you love Coach Cignetti at Indiana.
Right. If we look at a 1-year window, they're top 3. But I mean, to hold top 3, but to hold it, right? Like, Michigan made a 14 playoff 3 years in a row. Michigan won a national title. Michigan won the Big Ten 3 years in a row. They actually carried that top 3 program. Like, they got to it and they achieved that. Indiana listen, they won the Natty. I do love, we all know, love Coach Cignetti. I was upset. I may have cried when I learned Coach Cignetti wasn't even an option for the next coach at Michigan. All right. I might have had an entire evening of crying. Just kidding. But internally I did. Because damn, it would have been a home run. You know it and I know it. We all know it. All right. But I just think, if we're looking at more than just a 1-year window, I think Oregon's proved we'll see what Kirk can do defending his crown, right? Because now he's got that target on his back.
I guess where I struggle with Oregon is that what have they really done? They won the Big Ten in the first year of their. To be fair, they won the Big Ten. They beat James Fraudlin in the Penn State, the Big Ten championship game, and Oregon got it in fair play. But they've also dropped quite a few in the highest level, and Indiana has gone nearly undefeated since Cignetti walked in the door.
I know.
Obviously did struggle a bit in a few big games his first year, but still went 11 wins in a 3-9 program. Then goes undefeated. Okay. And so because it's a 2-year of success, not just a 1-year, that's my argument for putting them in there. Okay. If this was only 2025, wouldn't be in. But so this is a 2-year situation.
Great debate, because I bet you never think I'm on the opposite side of this argument. So here's my counter, John. Isn't this so funny? You're arguing for Kurt Cignetti in Indiana.
It's wild.
So I did not wake up and think that was going to happen today. All right, so my debate, my counter to you would be this: is the program have the infrastructure? I understand Mark Cuban's now funding it. I understand their collective and their revenue and NIL has increased. But is there recruiting enough to be at this top 3? Now, listen, we know Kurt Cignetti does more with less. We know Kurt Cignetti finds these diamonds and these gems. For me, listen, I think it's not even a debate. Indiana's a top 5 program.
Sure.
But that top 3, it's serious. It used to be, and we all know this, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. That's what it used to be. Clemson got, they had their moment, right? Clemson had their moment, but it was that for a long time.
If Oregon wins the Natty, and I'm with Michigander here, so Michigander believes Oregon has the best roster and wins the Natty. If they do that,
that's top my thought as well. I have them winning the Natty as it stands, and looking at it, I have Oregon winning the Natty this year. Now I get it.
I believe it.
Yeah, they've not won a Natty. I don't disagree, but if you look at every other program in college football, they're not consistently in this conversation anymore. And they're not even it's more than just winning too. Is the program built to sustain this top 3 level. That's the thing, right? I'm not sure Indiana is built currently to be top 3. I'm quite confident Indiana's a top 5. Like, listen, top 10's a safe call. Top 5, I think they can do it. Top 3, that's a tough one, man. It's hard to get there. Like, it's major. I mean, it's that's why it was so big for me when we achieved it after beating Alabama and retired Nick Saban, because we did. And then now look at Nick now, moral Nick.
Yeah.
Anyone catches his little conversations about paying players these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might be the most moral coach to ever step his foot on the field, John. Never once paid a player in his life.
Literally the godfather of paying players is having a problem with paying players. So that's very fun.
The book, and every single one of his coaches who came from him, all of a sudden become excellent recruiters with NIL.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Anyways.
So how about some big news from our guy Quinn over here with the 20? Great show, fellas. Go Blue. I got engaged last weekend.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. She's a new Michigan fan. And that's what you want, Quinn. You will get you a woman who is gonna adopt your fan base. So my wife, literally a couple of weeks into dating, she started saying fuck Ohio. She started saying go Blue. She started making crab dip and all this stuff to support Michigan and Quinn. That's a great sign, buddy. I'm just saying that. That is a great sign.
Yeah, man, definitely. Congrats, Quinn. And yeah, I could be happy for you, buddy. Good job.
That's so cool.
Hey, let us know.
Hit up the Quinn emoji in chat.
Quinn, give us an update if she starts saying F Ohio just because it's a Tuesday, and then we know you got one. You got a real one. Yeah. Dodoy's back. Hot take: no SEC in the Final Four of the college football playoff, but there will be 3 Big Ten teams. What three? I need to know. All right, let's guess.
Michigan.
I mean, I want to say Michigan, but is he saying Michigan? All right, listen, I think we would. All right, my assumption would be he's saying Oregon, Indiana, and like we could say Michigan because we're Michigan fans. But is he saying Michigan? I'm not sure. Is he saying Ohio State? I don't know. Let us know, boy. We want to know. I want to know. Listen, I think we could be a playoff team, though. I really do. I think we could be a playoff team. I think the team. Now, granted, let me check yourself, TJ. Let's watch how the spring stuff goes. Like, now it won't. It doesn't mean it's not end all be all. We know that, but it should give us a little more clarity to the puzzle.
Speaking of national titles and who's going to be in the finals and all of that good stuff, Coach Dusty May got an accolade from the media, a Big Ten Coach of the Year. So congratulations. And do you think this? How do you feel about this? I think he deserves all the awards he could possibly get after what he's been able to do the last few years. He's basically like the Signetti of basketball, because he comes into an 8-win basketball team and immediately flips the script year one, and now he's 2 losses, maybe 2 or 3 going into the March Madness. So congrats to Coach May. What do you make of this? And do you think that a deep finish is coming? Maybe even a title?
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
Yeah, let's go, Coach. Yeah, all right. This is major. Like, this is epic. We got one. Like, we have the hot coach. We have the coach who's literally mopping the floor with the entire Big Ten Conference. Could have won it with double-digit wins only, John. That's a lie. That's a lie, Steven.
What?
Knock it off.
Literally just one head-to-head.
Yeah.
Literally just one.
You know what? Do we have
against Izzo?
Speaking of Tommy Izzo.
Yeah. Little brother.
See if I can find that little Friday session he had the other day. Let's see if I can find it. I know I got it. It's right here. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I can play it. It's a news station. I'm gonna leave it alone. If it was like
y'all have seen it. Y'all have seen it.
Yeah, where Tom Izzo, it was one-sided. No, Yeah, it was one-sided. Dusty May's side, son. Okay, take notes, coach. You're falling behind. Yeah, no, listen. Look, the program is in a wonderful place. Wonderful place. It's recruiting well. It's it's got players who are currently developing already on the roster. It's I don't know. It's listen. Here we go. This is the era I was talking about for Michigan athletics. Here we go. Yaxel wins Big Ten Player of the Year. I believe Trey McKinney won Big Ten freshman. Is that accurate? Damn, am I wrong on that? Did Trey McKinney win that? Chat? Let me know. Am I misspeaking? I don't know. I don't think I am. Maybe I am. Am I tripping? Looking. Trey McKitty. No, you know what? He must not have, because I would have seen it by now. Regardless. He should have. Trey McKinney's the truth, by the way. Big fan of Trey McKinney. Look, end of the day, a lot of first team all Big Ten players. The team is just healthy. The program's healthy, and we have the right captain. So, yeah, Illinois won it. Psh, blind. I'm just kidding. Nah, McKinney came off the bench, man. Like a 5-star. That's the thing. We got a 5-star, absolutely talented
Wagler. Keaton Wagler.
Yeah, who won? Oh well, should have been us. We'll get it next year. We got Costello coming next year, but another borderline. He's actually borderline 5-star. Kid's nice. I would play his film right now, but this show's already at 2 hours. But
Yaxel did win Big Ten Player of the Year. So
that's right, and he might be National Player of the Year if he keeps it up. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, John. I mean, look, program's in good hands. Good hands right now.
Absolutely, it is, and obviously, almost a 2-hour show. So let's just remind people of what's coming up next. What content can you expect? So we have our next show Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, right?
We do. Yeah, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Call-in show. Let's talk some ball. Open topic. I'm not going to go. I mean, who knows? Something could be breaking. You know how it goes around here. But as it stands, we'll do open topic. Now, we will focus. Let's see if we can keep the train on the tracks talking Michigan. We did get into the food debates last week. Little Jared Goff debate. Johnny Olden just loves knocking Jared Goff down. Although I'll be honest, I'm actually mad at Jared Goff right now. Jared Goff better restructure his contract. You better restructure your contract, Jared Goff. We support you. Don't do this. It's ticking me off, John. Like, Lions are getting cooked right now in free agency. I mean, just to give I know it was a Michigan show. Quick update. Lions are getting cooked. I don't like it. And we're low on money. So you better restructure it, Jared Goff.
Well, he might pull an Aaron Rodgers and say fuck off, and I'm gonna take $60 million or whatever it is, and that is what it is. So anything's possible.
And you know what? I know somebody's gonna disagree with me. Then you don't fucking want it, Jared Goff. You want to know what made Tom Brady great?
He took team-friendly deals.
That's right. To what? Win.
To win Super Bowls.
Now, Jared Goff, you were in a trade with Matthew F. and Stafford, who has what? Won a Super Bowl and an MVP. That's right. And an MVP. They didn't want you, bro. Take that serious. Help your fucking team out. Let's win. I'm trying to see a Super Bowl, damn it. Pissing me off, Jared.
Absolutely. We got one more super chat for the road from Dedoy here. IU, Oregon, Michigan. So Michigan is in his 3. We win in Columbus to get to the college football playoff. So Dedoy is predicting a victory against Ohio.
Well, you didn't. I'll just say this, the boy. You didn't need a super chat, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, I like it. IU. You know what? Really, just be. You know what would be my ultimate? Indiana versus Michigan, and we beat Indiana. Of course, we beat Indiana, but like that'd be just the best national championship. You know how good that game would freaking be.
It would be an excellent game.
Real coaches, football coaches. I love that shit.
Yeah, there's like 150 combined years between the two of them. Like there's a lot of coaching experience there.
And that's rounding down, John. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, real programs there. Very cool. All right, y'all. Well, I know TJ agrees with this. Y'all showed up for us today.
Yeah, thank you.
We didn't know how this show was going to go. We were excited about Alfred, but we didn't know what the situation was going to be. There are games on, there's other things going on, but y'all showed up and supported us. Super chats, memberships. Ryan with 30 gifted memberships. Holy crap! It means the world. Great. By the way, great questions, y'all. Some of those questions were like Walter Cronkite tier journalistic questions. I mean, there's some really good questions in there. There are some silly questions too. There are some really good, like legit. Like I think we learned a lot today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a great interview. I'm actually going to watch it. I'm personally going to watch it again because when you're in it, I don't know if I'm sure I missed some things here and there, but just good. Appreciate it. Well, hopefully we can get him on again, man. But yeah, very fun.
Doors always open.
Michiganers asked me if I saw the Max Crosby news. I have seen the Max Crosby news. Please. Aiden Hutchinson, Max Crosby would be the dream, boys. Let's go. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? He failed his physical. I don't know what that means. That seems crazy to me, though.
That would be
I mean, we know
those two. Max and Hutch. Oh my God.
Dude, we would kill quarterbacks.
Offenses would be screwed.
We would literally bite kneecaps.
Yeah.
I want it. We'll see. Hopefully. I'm hoping for the best, man. I'm kind of hoping we get Cam Jordan, but we'll see. We'll talk. We'll see. Let's see what the boys can do. We'll talk Thursday. We'll get to it.
Absolutely. Jay, who's a mod and a member, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We have a lot of fun. Yeah, subscribe and hit the bell. Because if you hit the bell and you select all, that's when you get notified about all of our content. And we're usually pushing out shows, clips, a bunch of content. Usually every day or every other day, there's something that you can watch or listen to on our channel. So, so definitely subscribe and hit the like button on your way out. And that's from Jay. Jay's saying it, not us. So, hey, there you go. Straight from the source.
Appreciate it, Jay.
Any final thoughts, TJ?
I'm going to keep it chill tonight. We got a big off season ahead of us. I'll save my stances on things for some of our, later in the summer.
Sure.
But no, just I guess here's my last thing I was supposed to say. Again, thank you all for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of the community, showing like that's the other thing too. Tony said you don't, just be there, right? Like that like all right. Shit, now I'm gonna go in on this. All right. One of the things he said that I thought was like so real that fans do not acknowledge this. And rivals will always fucking shit on you. Just be there, support the boys. Like this channel, like that's one. All right, let me tell you something I'm proud of. Our community and our channel is pro Michigan. Now listen, we're honest. Like we'll call something out, right? But my goal personally is like, yeah, dude, like we're here to support the boys. I want to support the coaches. I want to support the teams. Like we're here for the journey. Like we're all going through this together. Like the highs, the lows, the recruitments we win, the recruitments we effing lose, this March of Madness we're about to go through. Frozen Four if you're into hockey, although I know we don't really cover it a lot, but I mean, I would watch it if I was you. And the next season's going to be a ride, So, I mean, I don't know. I'll just say this. Thank you. Appreciate it. And we got a lot more. Like, this is just the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone who was here just witnessed history, which is literally, we have interviewed a Michigan football coach. It's uphill. It's all golden from here because of your contributions. And we will continue to have players on and families and coaches whenever the door is open. So right. I know there's some listening. The door is open and you're welcome to come in and promote and give your causes, give your takes, whatever you'd like to do.
And we're working on some. There's one that I'm trying very hard to get that I know y'all
Yes.
would love. That I
Yes.
know y'all would love. But
there would be some champagne popping if we got this particular individual.
yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but we'll keep working at it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, thank you all for being here and for supporting. Please consider becoming a member. Once we sign off, you'll get to see all of our members in all 3 tiers. And so whether it's Connor Stallion's tier, whether it's those who stay, whether it's Leaders and Best, it doesn't matter. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. So you can either become a member using that link on the top of the chat. You can become a member using the join button. Bunch of ways to do it, and check out what the tiers offer. See if there's one that's a good fit for you. And until next time, we'll see y'all Thursday night at 8. John D'Adamo at TJ_Ronin. And go blue, and we'll see you next time.